Hi, it's Mark here with you today in Western Arkansas, out here in a scenario you usually don't see me in. I'm in my backyard. You usually see me out at the range or in the country somewhere. Today I want to talk to you about steel targets just briefly and give you some details about them. You see us running through them and shooting them, and you hear me talking about them a little bit, but I wanted to give you some details today and just kind of show you what we've got, how we got them set up, and what you can do with them. A lot of times people ask me, what kind of target should I get that would give me the best ring, make it sound more like a bell? There's really no way to answer that. Every target that you get, even though it's maybe cut out of the same lot, the same size and everything, will probably sound a little bit different. And I'll illustrate that here in just a second. Behind me here, these are all AR500 steel targets. They're made for shooting. And it's all 3/8 inch steel. So this is all the same steel, but they are set up a little bit differently. They're different sizes, and as you'll hear, they sound different. Now, I'm a good musician could probably play a tune on that because they all have a different sound, they all have a different tune. But the bottom line is, when you get out on the range and you start shooting this stuff, it'll sound different when bullets are hitting it too than it will with this little mallet here, but they all ring and clank differently. Don't worry about that. Order your steel, start shooting it, hear the different sounds, you'll embrace the feedback, I promise you. The kind of targets I've got here are gongs. These round ones up here. Most all of these targets are advertised as gongs. These right here came from xsteel.com. They have a single mounting point in the middle of them, and they're particularly useful for mounting on posts like this right here. And they're very easy to take on a range. The stands that I've made for them there are just 2 pieces, and so it's very easy when you want to set these up on a range and you want to move them to just pick them up and move them. Hanging targets, there's a lot of value in those and for various things you want to use them for, but they're not quite as easy to move around on a range. One of the most common ways of hanging portable targets is hanging them from 2x4s with sawhorse brackets, which is the way I've got this one hung over here and the way you can see in these pictures up here. Again, these targets are going to sound different based on how they're hung. Hang these targets that are over here on a post on some chains and they're going to sound differently. They're going to sound different than they do mounted over here. These targets right over here and this one, along with a half a dozen others that I didn't bring out here, I got from Shooting Target 7. Shooting Target 7 is actually my favored steel supplier at this point. Got a lot of turnkey systems you can buy for very good prices, and their customer service is excellent. xsteel.com, second to that. Good customer service. They've got a very extensive lineup of steel all the way up into very high-end competitive stuff, and something that's worth looking at if you want to go a little further into your shooting. Either one can provide this type target over here. Again, these over here were set up originally to hang from a chain, but I decided I wanted to make this right over here, this target right here. Let me just give you an example of what you can do. This target over here, I decided I needed to make a tactical defense target with a body and headshot spot on it. So I made a large one on the bottom and a smaller one on the top. And you can run through these targets and you can do a body shot, headshot for defensive training. On this type target right here. So those were hanging by chains like this right here, and I did that so I could make that new type of target that I needed for a body and a headshot, and it works wonderfully. We leave the silhouette hanging like it is over here because that silhouette hanging is makes a good sound, and it doesn't move much when you shoot it over there, so you can keep on shooting. You can shoot it as fast as you can pull the trigger on your gun without losing the target because the target doesn't flip. If you do buy targets to hang from chains, I want to suggest that you don't hang very small ones. You can buy very small ones that'll hang from chains and shoot them with centerfire handguns, because the targets will just jump all over the place, and you'll have to wait on them to stop moving around before you can actually shoot them. So heavier targets work well from the chains. Otherwise, I'd find some way to hang them from posts. These right here are way more portable than anything you'll hang, but then again, hanging targets are also very valuable when you want to shoot something in a row, just like this picture of them we've got up here. So those are the type of steel targets that I've got. Talking to you about stands for just a second. You can see that all of my stands are wood. Now, when you go to the places where they handle this steel, you're going to find all kinds of systems that you can set these things up with. Some of them are very portable, they're very convenient, and they're very fast to set up. They're also very expensive. And that's the reason, instead of buying stands and bases for them that are already pre-made and manufactured, I use wood for about 1/10 the cost of the stands. You'll see what I'm talking about when you go in and look at the steel. But for those of you that that's not an issue for, I can promise you they'll have stands and systems for you that you can get that will fold up in just a portion of the space that this folds up in right here. I'll show you how one of these comes apart out here. This one right over here is just 2 parts. That just comes out of that little stand. The stand itself is just 2x4s with cross pieces and a couple pieces in the middle to fit the 2x4 post. That's all it is. So, just as a reminder, that's all portable. Every bit of that comes apart and fits in the back of my 6-foot pickup bed, along with a lot of other big targets, a big target backing and some stall mat targets. Lots of stuff goes in the back of my truck, and every bit of this fits. So it's portable. So for those of you that need portable targets, looking for the stands that you can buy or making your own is very easy to do. I didn't and not going to make a video on how to make these stands because there's about 1,000 places on YouTube that you can get directions on how to make these stands. So just look on there. You can find out how to make the stands, find out if that's what you want to do, or if you want to get your stands through the manufacturer. With all of this about steel, when you start shooting it, it'll give you some enthusiasm you never knew you had for handgun shooting particularly. The feedback is unparalleled in anything else that you'll use. It'll improve your handgun shooting. The targets will last. The steel targets themselves will last just virtually forever. I don't know how long it takes to wear one of these things out, but they just last just seemingly forever. I never have seen one worn out, and I haven't worn any out myself. Steel targets. What else can I say? Shooting Target 7 is my first choice as far as customer service. The turnkey systems that they've got that you can buy for a reasonable price. And xsteel.com is a close second. Good customer service, extensive lines of high-end competitive shooting targets, as well as just regular gongs and the smaller stuff that most people will need just to train with. So why don't you get your steel, come along with me, and let's shoot in a way that gives us some feedback that we won't get anywhere else. Steel targets. Come on, go with me.